Welcome. You are welcomed to my podcast, my animated talk show, More Than a Womanist. I am your host, Lenice Merritt, and we need to talk, so go ahead and have a seat because we're going to talk, okay? Kyle Rittenhouse. His case received a not guilty verdict after he killed 2 people and shot another. As a matter of fact, Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted on all counts. They slapped his ass and told him good game. Now, this case, it occurred during racial injustice protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and it followed the George Floyd uproar that sparked protests all over the country. And we all know the moving video of George Floyd's death. It was F-bomb mortifying. The jury for Kyle Rittenhouse decided that the murders and the assault was not intentional. How was this not intentional? Kyle Rittenhouse, a conservative white man, left his house during a pandemic with a gun strapped to his chest, not just any gun, an AR-15, to go to a heated racial injustice protest. At the time, he was not looking to join the military. I heard now that he's looking to join some type of legal department. That idea came to him after the fact, after the charges were pressed. And upon entering the protest, he was seen by the police, who seen the gun strapped to his chest and decided to thank him for being such a fine young man. The police officer, he can tell by the way his hair was combed. I am in almost disbelief of the politicians who have decided to praise Kyle Rittenhouse. Trump met up with Kyle Rittenhouse after he received his not guilty verdict, and this is disgusting. This guy, this Kyle Rittenhouse, he's being invited to speak at political conferences and receiving standing ovations, as if that boy did not go out there to hunt. And he wasn't even convicted on the gun charge? Are we reading the same news? Did we see the same trial? Because I hate his cry face. God bless. Don't call me if you want to ugly cry. Did we really go from celebrating the reform and progress we were making with George Floyd to this? Were we not vocal enough? Did you guys figure you could let this one slide? Is that the only way for the judicial system to do their job? Because there was a lot of other cases going on at this time. And this one in particular, it seemed like a no-brainer, and it still is. And as I mentioned before, this protest with George Floyd, it sparked all over the country, and the video was devastating. And still, some politicians were advocating for people protesting to be incarcerated and labeled terrorist. But protesting and moving forward with overthrowing the government is actually a right. It's a right. But hold on to that thought for a minute, because I want to get into how this ties into election fraud in Capitol Hill. But first, in response to the uptick to the crime rates, some police departments acquired services from the cybersecurity solutions developer called Shadow Dragon. Now, this Shadow Dragon is what police departments are using to investigate the uptick in crime rates as well as Capitol Hill. Now, protesters of Capitol Hill were also labeled as terrorists, and hundreds were charged for charging the Capitol Hill in order to protest election fraud, but more specifically, the election being stolen from President Trump, and that's revolving around Biden's presidency since he took office. Biden said never before has there been an attempt by state legislators to take over the ability to determine who won, not count the votes, determine who won. And what I gather from that, this situation now with Capitol Hill, in regards to voting fraud, there wasn't enough time before inauguration to accurately count the votes presented by each state. And you guys know how each state has their own little tricky things going on. So it wasn't enough time to accurately count the votes and decide on logistics surrounding the votes that will be counted, like the mail-in votes, as well as ID. And you guys know Biden is in the midst of packing districts in order to secure a blue vote, but that's a story for another day. But I sincerely felt like we the people were being punished for the 2020 presidential election having a larger turnout. And Trump feels like the election was stolen from him. And I like to say, there's this whole big hoopla about the deep state and not enough coverage on Pizzagate. I mean, did Russia want you to lose this time? What about the election you stole? It's still this big question if Russia interfered with the 2016 Trump campaign, him being elected. Now, if Trump let it slide, underestimating them because it benefited him at the time. And I'm not sure the extent of Trump's relationship with Putin, but they had intimate meetings. Some included golf, others supposedly included a temptress. It was reported by media outlets that Putin supposedly used a woman to seduce Trump during a meeting or just give him some eye candy. What about American values? What about your marriage? Can you be faithful for 4 to 8 years? Is that too much for you? You have bigger fish to fry. And I'm saying that for all the presidents. Are you serious? And what I mean by underestimating Putin and these foreign powers is they caused so much commotion. The Russians succeeded in whatever plan they had to the point that barely anyone was indicted on these charges, with them interfering with the 2016 campaign. From here, it looks like whoever can rig the most avenues wins. Because Biden, as I said, is working on packing entire districts with migrants and misinformed voters in order to secure his vote. Now, when you're growing up in America, you have to wait 18 years to vote in America, and you have to go through the school system. And I'm going to leave it there. The next election is 2 years away, and we need to get these voting rights together now, because this is disgusting. It's making a fool out of us. There was a recent breach, an Elasticsearch server backed by a politically motivated agenda that targeted the U.S. and other countries, supporting theories that foreign powers have the capacity and the will to intervene with an United States election. And now this server in particular, this server ES, it was said by the name of SocialNet, and it was based in China. Now, SocialNet is a software product of Shadow Dragon, the company I previously mentioned, and Shadow Dragon was announced in 2015 as a sister company to PackNinja that was already in progress since, I'm not sure, I don't have the date, but it's a cybersecurity monitoring company, and it has AI-driven community surveillance. The U.S. was compromised completely. Sensitive data related to U.S. legislation, along with data on details surrounding communications of U.S. politicians, and the attackers also scraped finance data from the Federal Election Commission website. And from the investigation, they found out that the server also collected Twitter data that belonged to the U.S. senators and had data sets with usernames and passwords. And the amount of data they had, the amount of information they had, 4.4 billion, it was 4.4 billion sets of data. How long was that data acquired? Like, what was the time period for how long that data was acquired? They were monitoring the social media activities of U.S. politicians, activists who have protested against China, and other nationalities who have some level of stiffness or they don't have relations, like close relations to China, like they're not allies. So there was also information on Taiwan, and Taiwan's been in the news a lot, especially with us, the U.S. We're letting Taiwan know that we would help if China decides to invade them. Or it was a question, it was a debate if the U.S. would help Taiwan if China invaded. But China's foreign minister today is singing the Gary Come Home song and calling Taiwan a wanderer. So, at the end of the day, it was public information. It was said to be public information, but it's eerie that our government is having a hard time defending itself and defending itself as politicians that make up the government. And it looks like foreign powers are taking us for fools, and they're using big tech's greed and their vast net, their vast scope to do it. I know that was hot and heavy, and that's all that I'm going to give you guys today. Make sure you tune in for the next episode. Happy holidays, happy New Year's, happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating. Light a candle for me, hang an ornament. And, someone told me a funny joke. What did he say? It's like, I don't even know this guy. It's like, I've been a bad citizen, punish me. I'm going to leave some coal in your stocking. How about that? Leave some coal in there for me. Maybe for my hookah. Who knows what I'm doing this Christmas. I got invited to a few Christmas parties. I hope you guys have some fun and spike the eggnog. That's my favorite drink during the holiday season. I love it. It goes well with everything. I'm not sure what I'm cooking this Christmas yet. I actually had ham for Thanksgiving instead of Christmas because I'm not a super big turkey eater anyway. I like my meat moist, and for some reason not everyone's turkey comes out well, and I didn't want Thanksgiving to be my first time making a turkey all by myself. It was to the point I was like, should I have chicken? I'm like, no, if I'm just going to eat something else that's not turkey, I might as well get a ham. And my ham was amazing. I mean, it was the first time that I made it alone as well, but I had more of a hand with making more help with making the ham before. So I just knew exactly what to do. I was in charge of making the ham sauce, the glaze. So it came out really nice. I'm really excited for Christmas. I already have my tree. I had my tree up since Thanksgiving. It's a little tree. I didn't go purchase a tree that they cut down. You guys know how I feel about that. But at the same time, it is tradition in my home. Growing up, my father would always go get a big tree, tie it down to the van or whatever big Jeep or truck we had, and always put the tree up. And throughout the weeks, we'd see random gifts appearing under the tree, and it was just so beautiful and amazing. I'm the type of kid that just can't wait. I'm poking holes just to peek through the presents. So I really do hope you guys have an amazing time. Another tradition I have is we always open one gift on Christmas Eve. Yeah, I literally couldn't wait. So love you guys. Enjoy it. Make sure you give everyone that you love a call. I'm pretty sure everyone's looking to hear from you. And just stuff wear your fat pants. Okay. Till next time. Mwah. First, I'm Denise. And this is my show. Have a seat. And I'm going to give you all of these to all the tea that be happening around me. That was straight off the dome. I don't have a fucking theme song.